Hello, everybody, and welcome to Starting Small Music. I'm Justin McCormick, and you're about to hear a conversation with an artist, musician, and music industry professional on their journey and how they got to where they are today. At Starting Small, we like to take you on a journey uncovering the untold stories of your favorite songs and artists. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Just keep a smile on your face and it'll be okay. Try not to be bitter, you gotta do it either way. Keep a smile on your face and it'll be okay. So when life throws a jab, you gotta duck out of the way.
How you doing today, Chase?
I'm doing well, Justin. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. So getting right into your story, you grew up in Alabama. What was your childhood like?
Yeah, man. I grew up in a small town about 20 miles north of Mobile called Satsuma. Super small town, population 3 or 4 thousand people. A town where everybody kind of knows everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty normal childhood. I grew up, great family, great surrounding friends and a supporting group of friends and family that have always, kind of pushed us to do whatever we wanted to. Yeah, music was not a thing where I grew up. I mean, other than the church bands, it was just not anything that any of my friends or family did. So definitely excited that it led me here.
Now, growing up in the South, do you think it was just because it was a lot of people were just focused on sports, or kind of what do you think was lacking about the music scene where you're growing up?
Sports was definitely king where I grew up. I played sports my entire life. My dad played sports his entire life. It's just one of those things that you do. Super competitive baseball area down there.
Yeah.
My high school football team sucked, but there are plenty of good football teams down there as well. So, I think definitely sports is just king down there.
Now, around the house, what kind of music was being played that kind of got you introduced to music?
Man, I remember specifically just early 2000s country music. I was born in 95. So, about the time whenever I could start really appreciating music is whenever all that early 2000s kicked in. Early Kenny Chesney, Tim McGraw, the Red Akins era.
The best era of country,
Was
in my opinion.
right. Absolutely. I mean, it's just it was something that we always listened to. My grandmother was a radio fanatic, so she was one of those people that would call in and win cruises and win free concert tickets, and she was just that person. So I remember specifically going over to her house, and every time I would stay, her alarm clock, whenever it would go off in the mornings, it would play the local country station.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't matter, if it was 6 a.m., all you heard is, uh, I Go Back by Kenny Chesney or Red Ragtop or some Brooks and Dunn song, So it was definitely something that was king around the house.
Is there any concerts you went to kind of when you were younger that made you feel a connection to live music?
My first concert ever was Lone Star.
Oh, cool.
I believe I was 6 years old. Ironically enough, it was in a casino. So my grandparents had to do some smoozing to get me in there, but first concert, and I was definitely hooked after that. There was a local music festival, 3-day multi-genre music festival that was down in the Mobile area that I grew up going to. Later on, got to work for. But yeah, I mean, anytime there was a concert around town, I was there. People in my class, my high school class, knew me as the concert kid. So
Yeah.
I was at every show that was anywhere close to Mobile.
Now, in high school, kind of what was your plan? Maybe like senior year, when were you thinking about going to college? What was the plan? Did you already know you were gonna want to go into music?
No, college was definitely being pushed. Um, but I didn't find music an option really until about my junior year. I was actually on track to study political science. Was going to do politics,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, so quite the turn. But politics is still used in music, you know. It's definitely still a thing, but yeah, I was on track to do poli sci. Um, and you know, I played. I wasn't really focused on school or anything while I was in school. I was enjoying the ride. You know, I was um, playing all the sports, and I was voted uh, class president junior and senior year. So I was just having fun. I wasn't really focused on my grades or anything. So when it did come down to the time to pick a college, I was kind of screwed in that aspect because I'd played around and just enjoyed my high school career. But no, I found music was an option around my junior year, and definitely went down the rabbit hole of looking for the music business schools, Blackbird, MTSU, Belmont. And it's definitely something that I saw was, something in reach.
Yeah, totally. Now, I saw online that you actually helped like build a music festival in your local area. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. I guess it was my senior year of high school. Um, everybody wants you to do an internship.
Mhm.
Well, sometimes that internship requires you to be, in college, taking college classes. Um, and I was not, doing that. I was still in high school at that point, and I met somebody through a family friend who introduced me to the uh, pretty much the CEO of this music festival. And like I said, it was a 3-day multi-genre music festival, and her name was Shanna Jordan, and she really just took a chance on me. Like I said, I was an 18-year-old kid. Um, hell, I don't even know if I was 18 at the time. I might have been 17. Either way, she took a huge chance on me and hired me, and I was her direct intern. I mean, I worked under her. There were multiple other, you know, sorry, there's some stuff going on with my phone here. Um, there was other interns at the company as well, but I handled artist contracts at 17, 18 years old. Stage manager once we got to the festival weekend. So I mean, yeah, she really just took a chance on me, and I did that my senior year, my freshman year of college, and then it came to an end my sophomore year of college, and I was still working on that festival, and then I just decided to shut the doors on it.
Now, what did you learn about the back end of the music industry kind of during that time period? And is there anything that you still use as a tour manager today?
Oh my gosh, yes. That honestly, that job taught me everything. It taught me how to treat people on site. It showed me empathy. You never know, the kind of gig that somebody's coming from. You never know what's going on in their daily life. Um, there's so many different aspects of uh, the day-to-day life of touring that could affect how somebody shows up to a venue or how somebody says something to you. You just have to take it with a grain of salt and just treat people with respect. But as far as the prep work, I mean, it's just like what I do now, just very strenuous emails and meticulous details and stuff that really you know determine how the artist and their camp how their day is going to go when they do arrive on site to a venue or a festival or whatever.
Now, did you end up finishing college, or did you end up kind of just leaving that and moving to Nashville to pursue being a tour manager?
Yeah, I did not finish school, and I'm perfectly fine with that. My parents were fine with that once they started to realize that I was kind of doing my own thing with music. I went to So I got a full ride scholarship to a local community college out of high school, strictly leadership based. So I went there for roughly a year. Um, and then I was looking at the transfer, situation, how I would get to Nashville and what classes I would need. And, some of the transfer things are ridiculous, but, I found out that I would have to retake some classes once I did get to Nashville. And so I just said, hell with it, and made the move. decided I was going to go to MTSU. They had a program called uh, part-time full-time, which
Mm-hmm.
meant you had to work. Um, what was it? You had to work full-time in order for you to go to school part-time.
Mm-hmm.
So they would give you in-state tuition if you were working full-time. So I was doing odds and end jobs, pivot sports, you name it. I was just doing whatever I could. Ended up working at the Grand Ole Opry during that time,
Oh, cool.
which was, ended up being a pretty cool full circle moment for us, especially with Team Tyler here. And um, so yeah, I quit going to school. Um, Started on the road at 19 years old, and I've been here ever since. It's just definitely one of those jobs. I feel like you have to have a lot of hands-on experience to get. You know,
For sure. Now, when you moved to town, was it already your plan? Did you want to like kind of go out on the road and kind of see the country, or did you see yourself as a manager, kind of like on the back end of things in the office, like during the week?
no, I definitely knew I wanted to travel.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'm from a super small town in Alabama, who's you know outside of my high school career had never really left that area.
Yeah.
Um, we would drive to the beach, or we would go to you know we'd take a trip to the mountains or something. But other than that, there was not really any serious travel going on. So it was definitely, you know, we just played C to C last week. We got to see, the international side of touring and what that looks like. So it's still definitely a huge aspect of what why I do it and why I keep doing that. The management side of things has sparked my interest. It's definitely something that I've worked on in the past, and I plan to work on again. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we'll see where this touring thing goes, but I definitely would like to get back in that one day for sure.
Now, during your time at MTSU, is there anyone in your class that kind of was coming up in country at the same time as you and is doing music still?
Oh man, I was at MTSU, and they had the music business program. I remember seeing like Chris Young's name on the wall, Sam Hunt's name on the wall. They had like a wall of people who I guess have made it,
Mm-hmm.
and so you would walk by that every day. But there's definitely some friends of mine who I've met at TSU that are doing the damn thing. Not necessarily artists, but on the management side, publishing side, uh, definitely folks that I still keep in touch with for sure.
For sure. Now, what do your first years kind of look like networking in Nashville, not only on campus, but kind of going out and going to all like the local things in town?
Man, it was the hardest thing in the world for me to leave my hometown. I struggled with that, for the first year and a half I was in Nashville. That was just a huge adjustment for me. Um, I thought I was an extrovert until I moved to Nashville and
Mm-hmm.
slowly started to realize that I think I'm an introverted extrovert.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where you have to hit the ground running. You have to go out. I spent the first year and a half. I was in a relationship. My first, I guess, serious relationship. Miss my family. I still have all of my grandparents, so I was going back and forth to see all of them. Um, so it was definitely an adjustment to one, make my ass stay in Nashville long enough to network, but two, I had to be okay with going to do things by myself.
Yeah.
Um, and that's something that I'll never. I just always appreciate that. I think that time was necessary to realize what I had to do to make it here in town. And there's a lot of solo Cracker Barrel dinners, that I would go to. There's a lot of nights that back when Third and Lindsley was, popping with the writers' rounds every other night with listening room down off Third when they were just killing it. I mean, I remember seeing Devin Dawson and Mitchell Tenpenny and Michael Hardy and all those guys coming up.
Sure.
That I remember the night that Mitchell said he wrote "Bitch It," first time he'd ever played it out loud. It's just it was such a crucial time in my life to really just sit there and accept the loneliness, but also just um, look around and see what was going on around me. Makes me really appreciate, what I do now.
For sure. It's funny you touch on the introverted extrovert thing, because I feel like a lot of people don't realize that a lot of people that are creatives or work in the music industry, it's kind of like a switch they have to flip on, like when it's go time, that like a lot of times they probably do want to keep to themselves. And then like either you're leading a team on the road or going on stage to perform, it's kind of a flip you have to switch.
Absolutely. I mean, there's times where, we'll walk in a room and we'll be getting ready for this event and we'll walk in the room and I do not want to talk to anybody in this room right now. Stuff might be going on at home, or you just might be having a day where you just want to stay inside, but you've got to flip the switch. You've got to flip the switch when you walk into a radio station with your artist. You have to flip the switch when you, walk into label meetings. Whenever you get off the bus and you're going to a meet and greet. I mean, artists have to do it. Managers have to do it. Band guys have to do it. I think everybody in Nashville has to do it for sure.
So where do you first meet Tyler then?
Oh gosh, man, it was back in that early first year I was living in Nashville. Whenever I was going back and forth to Mobile all the time, my family's got a beach house down in Orange Beach, and the Floribama is a hot spot down there. Mm-hmm. And I remember one of my friends called me, and she said that her boyfriend and this other guy were playing at the Floribama. So I rode over just to say hey to her, and ended up meeting Tyler that day. He was the other guy playing. So we swapped numbers and talked for a little bit. I mean, I thought he sounded incredible, so we got each other's numbers and didn't really text each other or hit each other up. And I think about 5 or 6 months later, he shot me a text out of the blue and was like, hey, man, I'm finally moving to Nashville. Looking for a roommate if you know of anybody. My lease was coming up 2 weeks later. So the second time we ever hung out, we were moving in together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we lived together for 2 or 3 years, I guess. Lived in Franklin, both sides of Franklin. And those were just grind times for both of us. He was still in the fire service, and I was, learning the road for the first time. Went out with a couple of different artists, younger artists, and opening up for acts that are huge now. But it was definitely a growing time for both of us.
For sure. Now, I saw somewhere else in another interview, you talked about how it's special to work with younger artists just to kind of see them grow, and how it's kind of different than working with a more established artist. Kind of what's your perspective on that, and why you like to continue just working with younger artists to see them grow?
Man, I think it's the resiliency, one, and two, just they just appreciate it. This was Tyler and I's first time across seas, and we were just thankful to be there.
Yeah.
They put him on the main stage in front of so how it went, it was like a writer's round style on the main stage. So Tyler, Kaylee Hanna, Alana Springsteen, just sitting there with acoustic guitar in an arena full of 20,000 people. And you could hear a pin drop over there. I mean, just like I've never in my life, we played arenas before and we played festivals and everything, but for a 20,000 seat arena that's sold out, and you can literally hear a pin drop. Everybody's very attentive and they listen. And it was just so, he'd come on stage every night. It's just like, that's insane. Like, that's crazy, And I've been with established acts, and I've been with, not even in country, other genres as well. And I think there's a jadedness that you get, and I try to keep myself fresh. And there are times where I do get jaded to some things, and then I look around and there's a bass player of mine who has never experienced that feeling. So I always try to keep that in the forefront of my mind, where music is a crazy thing, and it allows us to go do all these fulfill these awesome opportunities. Go overseas, play to 70,000 people at a festival, meet other heroes, in the business. It's just such a rewarding business. And I think the younger guys and girls that are coming up in this industry, the way that they appreciate the little things, when they hit 100 listens on Spotify, when they get 200,000 views on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the little wins. You know, you have to appreciate the little wins. You know, as you go through this business.
For sure. Now, what's it been like kind of being on the ride with Tyler since the beginning, probably playing small clubs, then touring with Mitchell Tempany last year, and like you said, going overseas this year? Kind of what's it been like to be with him since the beginning?
Man, it's one of the most rewarding things I've ever experienced. You know, I specifically remember Tyler playing me secret in our living room.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have any furniture in the house, dude. I mean, it was just him and I, two other roommates. We had way too many rooms and not enough furniture. So there was like literally a TV sitting on the floor. We had one couch, and I think there was a lamp in the corner that was on the floor. And we were just sitting in the living room, and he played me secret for the first time. And then he told me that he wrote that by himself. I was like, this is just unreal. Like, people would pay so much money to see him play like this, you know? Sure. I mean, it's just been the coolest thing. He's really grown into one hell of a writer and one hell of an artist. You know, I remember his first Whiskey Jam. He wore a sweater at Whiskey Jam. You talk to Ward or Ryan Onan or any of those guys, they still laugh at whenever they he wore a sweater on his first Whiskey Jam performance. And now he's got the whole, you know, rock look, wearing Jordans. I mean, he's really just grown into a really, you know, his own artistry. And let me tell you, man, he's been so loyal from day one. We kind of always knew that we wanted to work together at some capacity. I can't talk too loud because he's inside Starbucks right here, but we always wanted to work together. And when the time was right, you know, we thought for both of us. He called me and offered me the position. You know, TM's kind of a luxury position for an artist starting out, and the money definitely wasn't there. But he wanted, you know, I guess somebody around him to make him feel comfortable, and that's how it started. Now there's so much trust between us, and like you said, we've played the bars where there's 40 people in the room. You know, we've played arenas where there's 25,000 people in the room. We play festivals when there's 60,000 people out in the crowd. And he's the same guy. He's even keel all the time. He treats all of his band and crew and everybody with so much respect. And, you know, obviously wants to help us where we can, you know, where he can. But, I mean, he's just really become one of my best friends. And it's really one of the biggest honors to see him climb the ranks and do his thing here.
For sure. Now I like to close my interviews by asking, what's a piece of advice you've learned along your journey in music, not only to the tour managers out there, but as someone that works with a lot of younger artists, a piece of advice for the aspiring artists out there too?
Always say yes to an opportunity. That was one thing that really helped me get started out. You know, I was with one artist. I took a job with one artist. Met these other people through that artist, and then was able to do this thing, and it just grew. The more you say yes, the more, you know, it opens you up to opportunity. Yeah. You know, I was able to tour with a bunch of really awesome people. Toured around with Joe Portner, who opened up for Whiskey Myers and the Steelwoods back when they were doing like House of Blues style shows. Toured around with Casey Tyndall and Lainey Wilson and Parmalee, and you know, all these awesome artists that are now just crushing. I mean, you just got to say yes. You got to say yes. Always be open to an opportunity. Don't worry about the money. And that's going to be a big thing for a lot of people coming up. I see, you know, some artists that are like, well, I'm not going to go play for less than this. There are times where you do have to draw a line, you know, and say enough is enough, or no, this is just literally not feasible. But if you can figure out a way to make it work, because it's definitely worth it. Whether you're opening for, you know, said artist, or you have an opportunity to go out for free to shoot photo video for an artist, or do anything. I mean, there's so many jobs that I had to take that were free, or either, I mean, the first 2 or 3 years of my adult career, I worked for, I can't tell you, I mean, I worked for $150 a show with all different kinds of artists. It didn't matter if they were national or smaller artists, but that was it. You also have to be multifaceted. I think there's something to be said about somebody who can just do it all. I mean, I've driven vans, I've done photo, video, I've learned the TM aspect. I've had to be a guitar tech. You just got to figure it out. Do your own research and figure out how to grow. And there's plenty of people in Nashville who are willing to, lend a helping hand or teach you a certain craft. You just have to be, willing to ask. And that goes for myself. If there's anybody out there that would like to know what I do or how we got to this point, or if, need any contacts or anything, I mean, I'm here for you. This is definitely a business where we all have to work together. I don't feel like there's any competition,
Okay.
It's all a healthy competition for sure.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment, and check out my music on all streaming platforms at Justin McCormick. See you guys next time.